Boom! What is up, everybody? So I should introduce myself again. I'm a co-creator for the City Life Project. My name is Mudge, and today what we are going to do is some live streaming of a product photography photo shoot. This is just for fun. I'm not sponsored by any of the people whose products I am taking photos of. So this is just for fun to help out some friends of mine. So anyway, let's jump right on into it. Here we go. Just trying to make What is up? Okay, we're back. So as you can see, I got my camera hooked up here. And this is all of the stuff that I'm going to take a photo of today. Sorry, it's a little bit laggy. This is the first time I've ever tried to do this, but I wanted to do something kind of interesting for all of you guys. So right now I'm in the Imaging Edge software. So as you can see, like I said, my camera is all set up and I'm in my little home studio. And this in front of me that you can see here as I focus is my light box or studio. So it's made by Slow Dolphin. Kind of neat. So this is what I'm going to be using today. Anyway, I'm going to just kind of hold this camera as I set some stuff up. And what we're going to do first is take a photo of this. So I picked up this vodka the other day. This is Holocene Flavor Vodka. These guys are located in Coombs on Vancouver Island. And they're delicious sipping vodka. So what I'm going to do is just kind of center that in the space. As you can see, it kind of looks, it's bright in there. Everything's super cool. So obviously I've got to adjust my camera settings. This is first and foremost when you're doing this kind of thing. So the next thing that we kind of want to do, now that we've got the bottle in there, is find some stuff that sort of goes with it. So what I'm going to do here is I have this little whiskey glass. I'm going to try and grab it from the bottom here so I don't leave too many fingerprints on it because that's important. And we're just going to set that up like so. So you can see that guy in there. That all looks pretty cool. Now, what else goes really well with a vodka? Well, you probably want to have a smoke while you're having vodka. And you know what? I actually have one more prop. So I'm just going to leave this here for 1 second. You're just going to stare at this candle. And it's going to probably do that all weird. And I will be right back in 2 seconds. Boom, told you, 2 seconds. So now I have a little cigar that I'm going to put into that. All right, so here's our scene. So now the biggest thing is trying to figure out, do I want it this bright? Probably not, because I have some ambient light going on in the room, and it's going to take some of that on. So I've just dimmed it down. Now you can kind of see what's going on. And in the background here, there is this black background. You can color change them out. So these Slow Dolphin boxes come with multiple different colors. I've got a few that I can use. But anyway, we're going to dive right into it. This is going to show what the photos are that I'm taking. And then once we've taken a few photos of all of the stuff that I've got, we're going to jump into Lightroom and I'm going to edit some of these photos so you can see how I do that. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to start taking some shots and getting my stuff all situated. So typically speaking with the product photography, I'll go into manual mode just because I like the functionality of manual mode. It just allows me to kind of manipulate the focus so it's super sharp. So as you can see, I'm using a 50mm 1.8 and my settings right now are ISO 100, which I'm a little bit overexposed, so hopefully you can see this now. And we're going to actually up the ISO a little bit just so that we'll say 200 because I want a little bit faster shutter speed, and I usually go down a stop. So right now I'm at 1/60th of a second, f2, So I'll drop down to f1.8 because I like that. It just gives you that really artsy feel. And we're going to start shooting. So you want to make sure that the label is super sharp. So I'm sure that, there we go. That's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to pop down. You kind of want to make your stuff look like pretty big. So like low angles with product photography, I have found is a pretty effective way to do this. But I'm also noticing that my glass is just a little bit in the way here. So now what I want to do is just move that out of the way just a little bit so I'm not disturbing the label or interfering with the label. And we'll get that nice and sharp. Let's take another one then. I'm trying to get the lid in. Boom. That's another nice shot. Okay, now let's go into portrait and we'll just try and get some cool stuff with the portrait mode on. Boom. Just like that. And again, these photos are going to look way different once I get into Lightroom because I'm going to edit them so that it's just a little bit crispier. You get that nice contrast and all the other stuff that you want when you're taking product photographies or photographs. When you're taking product photographies. So, I am by no means a pro. When it comes to photography, I've been essentially a hobbyist for a few years now, though I have done some weddings and engagement shoots and that kind of thing. So basically, I'm just showing you my way of doing things. A lot of people will do things a little bit differently. Obviously, I have very minimal studio gear in here. I'm just kind of going with my gut on this and figuring out what I think looks good. So photography is a visual art and it's very much your own perspective. You can make things look cool doing your own thing. So anyway, if there's any photographers on here, feel free to comment, you know, and if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and subscribe. You don't have to, but there's going to be a lot more photography content coming up. I'm going to try and do more of these live streams, and hopefully there will be some video editing stuff come up, some photograph editing stuff. We're hoping to do some cinematography here too. We've got a pretty cool camera, which I could probably actually show you right now. This is the Canon C100. Go figure. I'm in manual mode, so it's hard to see, but that's our camera. So we're going to start making some short films and stuff with that. So anyway, going to pop back into it. I see that there's 7 of you guys watching us. Thanks for joining. Cheers to you. This is coffee, but I'm just going to have a sip and we'll get back into it. I also want to say a big thanks to Isha, who many of you know. He's basically the face of the City Life Project as far as the fight, MMA, any of that kind of content that we have. So he helped me set all of this up today as it's my first time doing it. So I'm going to keep going with kind of what I have right now, and then we'll make a couple of adjustments because I want to change up the scene just a little bit. It's good to have multiple different angles and stuff. So boom, that one looks pretty cool. We'll try and get like a shot from above here so it looks like we're looking down on the product. Again, Holocene is a brand new company. They've only just started and they basically opened their doors on November 1st. So I just thought that I would purchase one of their products and I'd help them out by taking a couple of shots of their vodka. Boom. So you see how I cut off the pipe there? I don't like that. So I need to move back a little bit. I really want to have the whole bottle in there. And I'll probably have to crop some of these in post because I don't want to get all of the olive foil that's in the background, the reflective material, in the shot. Like you can see that right now is all of that's in the shot. So what that tells you is I got to move closer. Try and get it out of frame just so it doesn't take away from what we're doing. So boom, that's nice and sharp. Try and get, you can move over just a hair to get that cigar in there a little bit more. We're going to move back a little bit. That's kind of a cool shot actually too, just with the Holocene vodka in the background. Boom. Okay, and now let's get that label in focus, just for fun. We're going to try something else. Okay, so now I think we'll remove the pipe. And I have some coasters that are really, really cool. These are from Bloom Tattoo out of Ladysmith. And what I want to do is kind of just set a couple of these guys up. You almost don't want to have any of this stuff kind of on the same plane as the product you're shooting. So let's take that out. We'll set this up like so. And I'd kind of like to have, well, I don't know what to do there actually. So we're going to do this now and just see if I can get some cool stuff going with that. So product photography can be pretty fun because it's like you're in control of everything. You know what I mean? Like you don't actually have to conform to anything really. As long as you're getting stuff that you like, that's really what it comes down to. And then when you send it off to the people whose products you're taking photos of, you know, they can let you know if they like it or dislike it, or if they would like to see some other stuff. So I'm just going to put this glass in the way just a little bit on this one. And that's going to kind of give it like that pretty bokeh in the front. And it's just out of focus, but you can still see the label. We'll make that nice and sharp. Boom. Cool. So I'm just going to check if there's anybody commenting and stuff. You know, like feel free to talk to me. I'm here to chat, answer any of your questions. 10. Okay. So Isha's in the room too. He's actually watching in the background for any of you guys that want to say hi to Isha. He's totally there. What's Fliver Vodka? Hernan. Okay, so Fliver Vodka is, it's a distillery, a brand new distillery out of Coombs on Vancouver Island. They just opened up on November 1st. It's a sipping vodka. It's actually delicious. You can purchase it online as far as I know. It's also, they're trying to be one of the first carbon neutral distilleries on Vancouver Island, which is what makes them a little bit different from everybody else. So that's kind of cool. Take a shot, Canada, bye. Well, I haven't opened it up yet, so I'm not going to take a shot right now, but maybe we will at the end of the video. I want it to stay looking like full because we're trying to take product photography shots. So if I start emptying it out, it won't look like the actual product. So I just want to say thank you guys for actually like tuning in and checking this out. It's like a lot of fun for me to do. So what we're going to do, we've taken a few pictures of the Holocene vodka. So I'm going to actually take that out for now. And I've got a couple other cool products. So I'm going to set these up. This is from my friends at Bloom Tattoo. They have candles. That's what these guys are. And I actually don't know if that setting is good enough. So we're going to, forgive me for this sloppy camera shot here, but I'm just going to up the brightness here so that we get a little bit more of that candle. So now you guys can see what that looks like. It's almost backlit. So what I should probably do is like move it back a little bit. And I actually really hate that. So I'm going to switch over to the green one because this one shows a little bit less of the wax. We've been burning these. They're not brand new, which is a little bit bunk. But my friends and next door neighbors, Brandy and Sydney, are tattoo artists. Sydney owns Bloom Tattoo and Brandy works at Bloom Tattoo. They're excellent tattoo artists. And if you want to get in touch with them, you can do so Bloom Tattoo out of Ladysmith, Vancouver Island, British Columbia. So they're selling these products. You can purchase them online. You can just reach out to them via Instagram. I believe their Instagram is Bloom Tattoo. And they're also making these super wickedly badass coasters, which that one's out of focus, go figure. But what I'm going to do is just set that up, and we'll take a shot of that right now. And let's get it in focus, nice and sharp. Cool. And I'm going to drop this a stop because I want it to be a little bit darker in there. So one of the things you can probably see in some of these shots is there is some dust on that thing. So ideally, you don't want the dust when you're doing this kind of stuff, but I can't really do anything about it right now because I'm live streaming for all of you guys, but it's harder to edit that stuff out in post. And that's not going to be a particularly fancy shot. So let's throw this in. And then maybe I can do some kind of foreground sort of stuff. We'll move that guy back. And then I want that to be the focus of what I'm shooting at the moment. So let's just take some shots. So this is like obviously they're coasters, so having a glass in there is like, you know, worth doing. And I'm just taking a shot of a bunch of their products so that you can kind of see what it's used for. I think that that's like kind of important as well. And then there's also something called the rule of thirds. So when you're looking at this shot, I'll just like kind of set that up. So when you're looking at this shot, all of your stuff that you're kind of focusing on, so like right now I'm going to focus on the cigar and the glass. I put it in the third, one of the thirds of my frame, so that it's just like a rule of photography to use the thirds. You can use either third or the center in the middle to make some cool shots. It can be kind of neat. So what I think I'm actually going to do now is take out the candle. We'll throw in the flivver just so that we have a drink in there. And I'll pop in this pipe and remove the cigar. So let's see how this looks. That's looking pretty cool. I'm going to get an upper angle on it so that we can kind of see what everything is. And I actually want to focus more on my foreground in this image. So you can see all the skulls. So they laser etch all of this stuff too, which is like actually super cool. And it's all their artwork. So you can purchase these guys online, like I said. Reach out to Bloom Tattoo, and they'll hook you up. Trying to get a good angle on this. I want it to be sharp. So that looks kind of cool. I'm going to jump back into the comments for a second here. I want to see what all of y'all are saying. Elite core package of Northland turning flow and 7.5. Northland and turning flow. Hey, dude, I'm down to try any of this stuff. If you ever want to send some stuff, like even if you got cool merch that you want me to take photos of at some point, I'm totally down to do that. I think that would be just an absolute blast to have some of you guys involved directly into promotion through the City Life Project. We have 7,300 of you guys as subs, so thank you very much for joining the channel and the community. We're down to promote your stuff. If you send us some of your merch, I will photograph it. We can do a video on it. I can promote your company, and we can have a little bit of a partnership, so feel free. Is this Isha's body double? I am for now. Okay, let's jump right back into this. The one thing that kind of sucks, like as you can see, is this box is really small. So what I'm trying to do is just make it look a little bit less crowded. And I don't like my desk being in the image, so I'm trying to get rid of that too. And we're just gonna go like this now. So you can see the coaster, vodka in the background, boom, rule of thirds. I got the glass, I got the coasters, I got a piece of the pipe. Cool. And now what I can do is, let's just adjust this a little bit so that you can see more of the coasters. I hope I'm not like totally boring you guys, but this is something I'm like super passionate about, and I'm going to be doing more of this stuff. For anybody that's a photographer out there, if you got questions, like shoot, I'm totally open to answering questions. That one's a nice one. Let's get a lower angle here. See if I can get something real nice and sharp. Bam. One of the other things about product photography is texture. So you see in some of these coasters, well, all of the coasters, they're made out of shale. So you can see all of the texture that's there. Or like even the pipe, like the pipe stand has a lot of patina on it, right? So you can see that there. It's super cool. The pipe is textured too. It even has like old bite marks from the dude that owned this before I bought it. This is from an antique store. So anyway, let's keep ripping. But you want texture in your photos. I think that really makes it beautiful. And if you ever watch Peter McKinnon, he's got some pretty cool advice on how to do this stuff. He's like one of my biggest inspirations for photography in general. He's fun to watch. He's informative, and he's been doing this for quite some time. So shout out Peter McKinnon. If you ever want to just like hang out, dude, I'm Canadian. I'm from the West Coast, but we can like do some stuff. Just, you know, subtly inviting you to hang out. Okay. So I'm gonna do an upper shot now. Boom. I like that. That one looks kind of cool. Hopefully that's pausing enough for you guys so you can actually get like a good gauge on what I'm doing. And now I'm just going to try and take a photo of just kind of the coasters. See if we can get something cool there. And as you've probably noticed, I haven't changed any of my settings on my camera yet. So we can do that too. I'm shooting at 1.8 with 1/250 of a second at 200 ISO. And basically that it gives you a really nice bokeh if you're like trying to get into like this blurring effect. Like you guys can see that if I focus on the glass, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about a little bit better. So in the foreground, I got the pipe. In the background, I got the flavored vodka. And the thing that's in focus is the glass. But you can kind of still see the vodka. And we can do that the other way. Focus the label on the vodka so that that's nice and sharp, like that. And then do the same thing. Yeah, that sharpens that up. Boom. And then you can do the same thing, shoot it in portrait mode, right? You want portrait mode just means you're doing the up and down with the camera instead of the horizontal. And we'll just try and move that over just a little bit. And how do we want to do this? Let's move the pipe over to there. Kind of see that like things are just changing up. You never want to like hide the label though. Like that's the most important thing. I'm gonna send these to Flavored Vodka to use for their Instagram or their Facebook page or whatever. You kind of want to make sure that you can see what is going on because the labels are the most important part. That's part of their branding. That's how they advertise, all that kind of fun stuff. So, boom. Okay. So I've done plenty of that. I'm going to move on to something else. I think what I'm going to do now is just take a shot of the pipe on its own, and we'll probably dim this light just a little bit because I want it to be a little bit more moody than it is. So just forgive me for the blurriness. You guys can watch my little head bob up and down on this screen, and maybe I'll check some comments here for a second. Co-creator of the channel, Kyle is the brains behind it. Well, Isha's honestly the one that started everything. He talked me into getting into some stuff. So I'm thankful to Isha for kind of bringing me into the YouTube journey. It's been pretty fun. And even though I've taken a little bit of a break, it's fun to get back into it. So Funk Master, I'll call you Keisha. There you go. Feel free. Kind of camera do I use? Right now, I'm using a Sony A7 Mark II camera. This guy right here. This thing's deadly. It's a mirrorless camera. I'm using 50 mil 1.8 lens, which I really, really like. And I gotta adjust my settings here because I've dimmed that quite a bit. So I want to keep it kind of moody. I'll up my ISO to 400. That puts me like right where I want it to be. Boom. Let's take a shot of the pipe on its own. See if we can get something kind of cool going. There. I'll rotate the pipe a bit too because I want this to be we'll get the front of the pipe in focus, and then the back end of the pipe will be a little bit less focused. I'm gonna have to change my battery on the camera here soon as well. There we go. That's a cool shot. And we can add maybe, let's try something else too. I've got this cool pewter kind of tea jar thing. You can throw that in. It's got a nice dent and a texture to it. That's kind of sweet. You throw in this lock, and you throw this guy in. So these items have like quite a bit of texture to them. They're pretty sweet actually. And maybe we can do this little stamp here as well. Not to make it look too crowded, but I mean, whatever, we're just having fun. So these are products I picked up from an antique store. They're nothing super special. We'll try and focus in on the stamp now. Back to do that. Kind of low. There we go. So somebody said that they suggest Nikon. Well, I have a Nikon. I've done, yeah, my battery's at 9%. I know it's like starting to go down. I got to switch it up. But yeah, I have a Nikon. It's just a D90. It's an old one. So from like 2007 or something. But here, I'm going to try something that it might end up with technical difficulties. If that happens, I'm super sorry, but I do have to change the battery, and I'm going to do that right now. And hopefully it doesn't lock us out. So if it does, we'll figure that out when the time comes. But switch this up, and then we can get back into it. And if that doesn't work, then we'll jump right back into editing some photos. And that way we can keep this live stream going. I'm super stoked that there's a few of you guys that have popped in and out and are watching, so that makes me really happy. Okay, cool, no technical difficulties. So I'm going to continue on with this. Let's try and get that either really nice and focused. Boom. Changing the battery switched me out of. What is happening here? forgive me. Apparently that battery's dead, even though I charged all of these the other day. So if that's the case, we'll just pop into Lightroom and focus on editing some of these photos. I'm going to give this a shot one more try and see what happens. This one's at 100. Sweet. Okay. I really like this cup too. I picked this up from an antique store, and it's got a lot of texture to it. It's one of those things that's like kind of sweet for these photos, because it like I said, texture is like a huge thing. So check this out. We'll try and I'll bring that into the foreground a little bit more, and you'll get that nice and sharp. Might have to move back a little bit to do that. Let's see. Nope, there we go. Takes a little bit of practice, and I mean, like I said, it's all perspective. So you might not like what I'm doing, and that's totally cool. But this is just kind of my way of doing it. So that last shot, you can see the foil in the background, which means I got to move over a little bit. I don't like that too much. Now we've got the lock kind of. Boom. Do a wide shot. I can get the cup kind of sharp. Boom. Cool. I'm going to move on to a couple other things, and then we'll jump into Lightroom. So I'm just going to take all of this stuff out. I'm going to throw in maybe one of the watches that I have here. So I brought a bunch of props just because I wanted some kind of cool stuff to like mess around with. So I have this log here that actually is a candle a friend of ours made. My friend Nikki burnt all of that in. It's kind of a sweet thing actually, but we'll just do this. One of the things that adds to texture too, just FYI, is you want to have like items with different feels to them. So like for instance, this bloom tattoo, this is what the candles come in. It's got a little bit of different texture. So I'm just going to try and do this. You can drop stuff too on your on the boards. Like you don't have to necessarily do just a plain background like this. Like you can take this stuff outside and do product photography, but of course I can't really do any of that stuff outside with you guys. I'd have to figure out how to live stream outdoors, which just isn't really a thing that I can do. So what I'm going to do, I don't want the candle really in there. I'll just focus on this. This stuff can be pretty cool too with a macro lens. Like if you got like 100mm macro, you can get some pretty cool stuff. I don't have one. I'm actually really limited, which is part of what I wanted to do this video about. So you can do product photography with pretty minimal stuff. If you got a 50mm, a camera, and good lighting in a window, you can make some pretty cool images. So I'm just trying to showcase that you don't have to be a professional photographer to get good shots. That's not really essential. So I just feel like, you can do this at home. I'm just in my like little office here trying to take some cool shots. And once we get into Lightroom, I'll kind of show you some of what I get. So anyway, I'll do a couple more shots of this watch, and maybe we can adjust it here. I really should have more industrial stuff for this. Just being that it's a fossil watch, they kind of have that look, but I don't have a whole lot of industrial stuff at my house right now. So, sharpen that up, dead center. I'll actually move this over up there. And like I said, none of these companies are ever going to reach out to me for photography probably, which is totally fine. But I quite enjoy doing this stuff on my own time anyways. And if it'll help out some of these local places like Liver or Holocene Vodka, then great. So I'm going to change my settings because I want a little bit more of that watch face to be in focus. So basically, I'm sitting at the f2.0. So let's go up to like maybe 5.6. And then I'm going to have to adjust some things. I'll probably have to bump my ISO. So I'm going to do that. Let's take the ISO up to like 800 and see what happens. Going to have to do a little bit more than that. Go to 1250. So there's another rule in photography. So I'm in a 50 mil. So at the very least, I need to be at like 1/100th of a second to shoot this effectively without having like lens blur and stuff. So let's go up to 2000. That puts me behind a stop. That's right where I want to be. We'll get this into focus. You have to be a little bit careful too, though, with adjusting things that way with too much ISO. Sometimes you'll get in a bit of noise. You'll introduce noise into the photo, which isn't necessarily something that you want. So I'm going to try this shot a couple different ways, and we'll just see what we get. My main focus is just making sure that I get a nice, sharp image. And maybe we'll come in a little bit closer, see what happens. I am limited though because it's a 50 mil. So that looks kind of cool. Maybe I'll move it over just a little bit like this. I want to get that stamp in there. That looks cool. So let's talk for a minute. I want to get to know you guys. Maybe you guys want to get to know me. So obviously, Isha is very passionate about MMA. And he got me into the vlogging to start with and purchased me for my birthday or Christmas. I guess it was Christmas. No, it was my birthday 2 years ago. We started the YouTube channel and he went out and he got me a Sony ZV-1 vlogging camera. So all of the vlogs that you see in there, I've kind of gotten involved with using that, and it's been like really, really wicked for the vlogs and just filming in general. And then we moved into this. So Isha bought this camera for the both of us to utilize as a filming camera. So anytime that you see the music stuff on there, we're using the Canon C100. This is a cinema camera. It's made for making documentaries and movies, that kind of thing. So we are going to get a little bit more into that. And maybe down the road, once we get a little bit better at creating these movies, we can show you how we edit all of that kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys dig that. But I think I've taken enough photos for right now. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to turn all of this stuff off. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and I am going to get into Lightroom and show you my editing process. So let me just put you on a break here for a couple seconds, and we will get going with that and come back. It's going to be really sweet. See you in a sec. Just trying to make it. That went really well. I'm super good at this so far. Okay, so I'm just going to throw you guys in here like I said, this is my first ever live stream, so I still need a little bit of practice with this. I'm not a pro like Isha is. Basically, like now, I can kind of show you. So these are coasters from Bloom Tattoo. They don't only have the skulls, they got flowers and all kinds of stuff too. So if you like tattoo artwork, they're wicked. And these two girls are just honestly fantastic human beings. They've done tattoos on my mom. They're going to be doing some tattoos on me. And I really enjoy their artwork. They're fine line tattoo artists. So this is the kind of stuff that they generally focus on, is really fine line, nice tattoos. But yeah, they did a whole sleeve on my 62-year-old mother, believe it or not, and it is badass. So check them out. They're on Instagram. I'm also actually going to be helping them do some of their live streaming on their Instagram channel behind the scenes. So that's something else that you can look forward to. And I'm also going to do a video at their tattoo shop of them tattooing. This is the Holocene vodka bottle. It's actually like super, super tasty stuff. Like I said, I haven't opened this yet because I like taking the product photos, and I have a few more plans to do some outdoor product photography in order to essentially help them out. They just opened on November 1st, so they're brand new company, and it's not super easy to get your name out there. So I just want to help them out where I can. Bloom Tattoo also has these keychains, and I support them fully. So I bought a couple of things. Their candles also come with stickers in each one. So the sticker is identical to the keychain. You can get all of this stuff online. They also have hats, they have t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got all kinds of stuff. And on that note, if you guys haven't checked out our City Life merch store, we have hoodies and we have t-shirts. So if you ever want to get some stuff, you can do that online. There's links in all of the descriptions of all of our stuff. So D-Nile218 says, I'm not trolling, just looking for a chuckle. It got Kyle. Sorry for your live luck. Hey, thanks. I mean, it's one of those things, can't be perfect every time. And being that this is my first time on a live stream, I think it's going okay. Seems like there's a few of you guys that are actually hanging out and doing your thing. So I quite like that. Thank you guys for sticking with me, even though things are kind of going weird. I'm going to continue trying to figure that out and just see if I can do that. But yeah. So not into tattoos, but want to know what their shop is. So their tattoo shop is called Bloom Tattoo. It's in Ladysmith on Vancouver Island. I think if you look up Bloom Tattoo, you can find them on Instagram. I will find out what their handle is, and I'll post it in the description at a later date. But they're really cool. Just look up Bloom Tattoo Ladysmith, and it'll probably pop up on Google if you check that out, and you can see all of their awesome artwork. It's like literally fantastic. They're both really renowned tattoo artists around here. I don't have Insta Hockey from Home. I've kind of taken a step away from social media for a break. I just don't have one at the moment. I may end up getting another one at some point just to kind of showcase the photography that I'm doing and build some relationships with some businesses that I want to do photography for. So you can look forward to that maybe in the future, but we'll probably end up having a City Life Instagram at some point. So, you know what? It is the Irish Life Regular. It is the first time that I've done any live streams on our channel. I'm usually behind the scenes. I do quite a bit of the background stuff. So I do a lot of the vlogging and I edit a lot of the vlog videos, though it has been a minute since I've done any of it. I took a small break actually from our YouTube channel. We were moving out of the trailer, moving off the farm, and now I live in this basement suite. So I have this kind of cool little studio in my house, and I figured that I would do a little bit more of this kind of stuff so that we can get to know each other. And I just like doing photography. So if I can do it live and it gives you guys a little bit of entertainment and we can communicate, I will do more of that stuff. So yeah, you can just call me Hockey, Kyle. Isha calls me Hockey. All right, you got it, Hockey. I've seen you before. Like I've done a couple live streams with Isha once upon a time, and you've been a part of all of that stuff. So interesting style for sure. Jumped on the site. Very good, intricate yet simple, if that makes sense. Yeah, totally. I mean, their thing is fine line drawing. Like, I mean, literally, like, this is the kind of stuff that they do, but a lot of it is like nature based. So they do flowers and birds and all kinds of stuff. They have a really unique style, and they're well known for what they do. Like, they are a fully booked tattoo shop, and I honestly think that they're just going to continue growing. It's going to be nuts. So yeah, some YouTubers call me Hockey, some call me Victoria, Kyle. Well, Victoria, I think that Isha has mentioned you multiple times, actually, because you're a huge supporter of our channel. So thank you very much for sticking around and like doing all of this kind of stuff. Covert Vets MMA. I need a dragon tattoo on my dick. Cool. That would hurt. That would be really painful, and it would be very expensive, I think, for most tattoo artists, because they just don't want to hold it. It's kind of weird. You guys have an obsession with dicks right now. It's kind of strange. So this went from photography to other weird stuff. So on that note, I'm going to try and get this working again, because I just don't understand why it isn't doing its thing. We want to be able to see Lightroom. So just bear with me. I'm going to try and actually make this thing work. And if I can't get it to work, well, whatever. It's not the end of the world, but I would like to be able to show you kind of the photos that we got. If not, I can put them up on my silly little camera screen here, and you guys can kind of see what I got, but I'd way rather give you the actual photos so that, you know, you can kind of see what I'm doing when I'm starting to edit all of this stuff. So I'm actually so glad that some of you guys have stuck around, because it's new. It's something new on our channel, and we've never done any of this stuff before. So I'm hoping that it kind of kicks off, and that you guys will join me on some more of this, so I can get to know you and you can get to know me, and we can just have a good time doing this kind of thing. So I am trying that. Isha's in the background. He's giving me a little bit of guidance here on how to do this. So I'm sharing the window, add it to stage, but it's still showing up black. I have no idea what is going on with that, why it's doing this. It's driving me absolutely bonkers, Ish. I don't know how to fix it. So I don't know. I really don't know, you guys. I've tried that, but maybe what we can do instead is I'll see if I can do this in Imaging Edge. Maybe that will make things a little bit easier for us to figure out what we're doing. Start Imaging Edge, desktop page. I know I shouldn't be doing this on the fly, like while all of you guys are here, and I promise you I'm going to get a little bit better at this. It just is, it hasn't been super easy yet. You see, let's try sharing screen. If that doesn't work, try a window. Okay, share screen is what Isha is saying. So I'm going to try this again. I've got that open. Move that. Add to stage. No, present. Sorry. I know this is getting really, really boring. If you guys have questions, like, feel free to shoot. I'm happy to answer anything. I'm like super stoked that you guys are still here, even with all of this stuff. So I can share my entire screen. It's not my favorite thing ever. Let's try this one more time. No. Okay, whatever. Pain in the butt. Okay, let's try sharing the entire screen. It's going to look a little bit weird, so forgive me for that. But anyway, you guys might not actually be able to see me anymore, but that is going to be fine. So now we're probably in Lightroom. I'm sure that you guys can see this now. Does that work? Okay, cool. So we've got that figured out. So now what I'm going to do, this is one of the older photos that I took. Like, we can even go through some of those if you guys want. That's an edited one. That's an edited one. These are just some shots that I took previously of some of their stuff. So I will pop in my SD card. We can upload these photos and try editing a couple of them. So we'll go in here, add photos, go to untitled. It's lying to you, by the way. So we'll go through and do review for import. Nope, that's not what I want to do either. My apologies. Okay, and there'll probably be all of these ones down at the bottom, so I'm just going to bring them into the shot. We'll mess around. Let's go there. Review for import. And I'm going to add all of those. Okay. So now that we can kind of see what I've been doing, hopefully all of these photos will come into play. And then I will basically, like, once all of that happens, sorry for that, you guys. I don't need that on. I know. I'm getting really good at this now. Okay, so that's working. But anyways, basically what I'm going to do is get all of these guys to join into Lightroom. They're just taking their sweet time. I'm syncing 24 items, so they will slowly show up. But for now, what we'll do is just like chat a little bit more, and I will get that going, and we can edit a couple of these. So they're turning really cool, Hockey. I think that we'll be able to check out some of these shots, and some of them will be pretty cool. Like, it's all on the fly. So sometimes I just call it spray and pray. You take a whole pile of shots and see what you get, and then we can check it all out. So what's that app on your laptop? Just curious. Okay, so the app that I'm using right now to do all of this is called StreamYard. This is just what Isha and I use for the live streaming. But the app that I'm using to edit the photos is called Lightroom. And it's just a typical Adobe photo app for editing photos. They also have, like, there's Lightroom Classic, there's Lightroom Pro, they've got Photoshop. I don't have Photoshop because it's kind of expensive, but it's one of those really useful things for photographers. So probably I'm going to end up getting it, and I got to learn how to do that. So yeah, sorry for the many comments, Kyle. I'm a very talkative person. Hey, I'm happy to just be chilling here with you guys. I know, like, we've been going on for an hour and I've had a few technical difficulties, so I apologize for that, but I'm here to chat too. I want to get to know all of you guys in the community, and I'm super stoked that there's some of you here hanging out with me today. The Soda Pod, when did you get into photography? Well, truth be told, it would have been almost 3 years ago. Nope, 4 years ago. Christmas break. My younger brother, his name's Colby. He also has a YouTube channel. You can go and check him out if you like travel vlogs. It's Travels with Colby, I think, is what it was called. I can double check and we can figure that out too. He might have changed the name. But Colby was doing some photography while living in Vancouver, and he flew out to Calgary to start or to hang out with us over the Christmas break. So anyhow, I started chatting with him, and he took me out to learn how to use my mom's D90, which she has given me, and we have done a lot of photography now. And funny enough, I started in 2019. My first professional shoot was in 2021, I think. I did 3 engagement shoots with my good friend Devin, who runs Second Nature Photography in Calgary. He's a fantastic photographer and a mentor for me. And then we went out and we shot, I think we've done 2 weddings together as well. So I'm not a professional photographer by any stretch. I'm pretty good at it. It's something that I'm really passionate about, but I can't say that I'm a pro because I don't do it professionally and make money at it on the regular. For the most part, I'm just a hobbyist. Is it only for Mac? No. I believe that you can use Lightroom on PC and all kinds of stuff. It's just an Adobe thing, so you should be able to use it on any of the platforms for PCs or whatever. Will my brother be on the photography streams? I'm hoping so. Honestly, one day. Colby's a really good photographer. You can check him out at, I think his Instagram is Barber Mudge. I'm pretty sure. So you can check him out on Instagram. He's got a lot of his photos on Instagram. He's a fantastic photographer, and I'd really like to have him involved in some of our YouTube stuff. We are going to be working together on some videos and that kind of thing as well. So hopefully that comes to light, and hopefully he's willing to join me. And honestly, it might make things a little bit easier too, to keep the flow of the show going. And if you guys like what's going on right now, like I know I'm just doing Q&A and stuff at the moment, but if you like seeing all of this stuff, then I'll continue doing it. It's going to be really cool. Burning Couch podcast. Do you mostly take product photography shots, or do you also do other shoots? So typically speaking, what I've been involved in the most in my photography career, if you want to call it that, is portraiture. I really like taking photos of people. That's been kind of one of the things that really got me into photography. I do some landscape photography too, though I'm not as passionate about landscapes. There's a lot of hiking and stuff involved in it to be totally honest. I'm too lazy to go and hike a mountain to get a beautiful shot at 4 a.m. to wait for the sun to come up. So eventually I'll probably do a little bit more of that, but mostly portraiture. I generally take a lot of pictures of my wife, Jen. I actually can probably show you a photo that I took of her here, but this is a photo I took. I know you can't see her face, but that's one of my shots. So I do a lot of portraiture. That's what I'm really the most into, but just in the recent little while, I've just gotten really deep into the product photography. And it's one of those ways that I can kind of transition it from a hobby into actually making some money, because the shots that I've been getting have been high enough quality that I can send them off to these companies. For instance, Bloom Tattoo, we're going to start working together on some stuff. And then I'm hoping that Holocene and a few other distilleries locally in Nanaimo will allow me to take more shots for them. And hopefully it'll lead into getting paid a little bit. So we will see. Can you do my photo shoot when I get married, Kyle? You know what? That would be a thing that I would be interested in doing. My friend Devin with Second Nature Photography, he does weddings, engagements, boudoir, all kinds of photography stuff, and he's actually awesome. And I would like to have him on our channel with the photography stuff too, so that we can just do a Q&A and actually talk about stuff and do some live photo edits. So I might get him involved in that in the future too. But if I was to do that, I would partner with him, and if you can fly us out to where you're at, we'd be happy to do that kind of stuff for you, I think. So, and as Isha said, like and subscribe, smash that like button. If you like this new series, we're going to be doing a whole bunch more of this, and I'm just going to continue on. So you're saying, okay, look out, or looks good, I'll check it out for Lightroom. You should. It's a really cool app, and if you take photos, you can do all that kind of stuff. Is his pictures of a barbershop on Insta? That's a good question. So I don't have Instagram, so I don't use it much, but he is a barber. So more than likely that would be like maybe his profile picture, but he has pictures of all kinds of stuff on his thing. I'm pretty sure it's Barber Mudge. So check that out. Jam Street Media just liked, cool video. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I'll contact you for wedding photography. I don't have my wedding plan, but yeah, well, I'd be super stoked. And if you're in Canada, wicked. That's something that we can probably make happen. You know, if you want to fly us out and do that, I'd be interested. I think that would be really, really cool. So, okay, I think we're going to check out and see if Lightroom has finished doing this stuff. All photos. hasn't uploaded all of them yet, I don't think, which is a pain in the butt. So let's just see here. I want to keep this show going. I'm actually having a really good time with all of you, and I'm hoping that you guys are having a good time with me. That's what this is all about. And I'm just going to add all of these photos. Whatever has been added is not going to show up, so Lightroom's kind of smart that way. But for some reason it's just not showing up. Okay, so screw it. We're going to go through some of these older photos just so that you guys can kind of get a gauge on what I'm doing. So this is unedited, and this is an edited version. So basically all I did for this is I take this photo, you can open up this little side channel here, and a lot of times what I'll do as soon as I open up one of these shots is I'll go auto, because I like doing the auto feature because it just changes the photo enough that I know that that's one that I want to come back to. You can also set it up in black and white if you really feel the need to do that, which actually kind of looks cool with that shot. But we'll undo that, we'll unauto it, and I'll just show you what I would do myself to adjust it. So we can just bring all of these guys back to the center, and that is basically like our stock photo. So this one, a little bit bright for me. I tend to like to just keep it on the perfect exposure like it is shot in camera, and I'll up the contrast so you can see kind of what happens there. It darkens it or it kind of grays it out. I don't really like it gray. And then the center is cool, but I like to darken it a little bit and add some texture to it, so I throw on some of contrast. Then what I'll do is I take the highlights. I'll generally dim the highlights a little bit, because if you brighten them up, it makes it super washed out, and I don't want it super dark either, but I'll dim it just a little bit, right? So that's what it normally is, and then I'll take it down. Let's go to 23. That looks pretty good. Shadows, you can bring up the shadows if you really want to. So as you can see here, if you bring it up, that's all that guy does. We'll just bring that up a little bit. We'll lower the whites, bring up the blacks. And then they have a couple of interesting things. So you can tone curve with this. I'm not very good at using this yet, to be honest. I've been pretty new at messing around with the tone curve, and it's not my favorite thing in the world to play with. You can also go and change your white balance. So that's what this little section is. So if I change the temperature, like this cools the photo and kind of blues it up a little bit. If you really want that look, I mean, that actually kind of looks sort of cool, but I'm not into it. And then if you go the other way, it warms it up gradually, and then you can go all the way into like bright orange if you want. So I like it kind of right where it is. You can change the tint on it as well. So you can change it to like pinks, or you can change it to greens. You can do all of that fun stuff. We're just going to leave it where it is. Vibrance and saturation just also enhances the colors and changes that a little bit. So we're not even going to play around with that. What I'm going to come into is the effects. So texture is an interesting one. You can soften it. So you see, if you're looking at the coasters there, it takes away the texture of the slate a little bit on the face. Like as I bring this in, you can see that texture come back. So this is normal right here. But what I want to do is I want to bring that in a little bit more, right? I can bring it all the way up, but then it looks sort of cartoony. That's not what I want. So I slowly drag this until I'm happy with it. And somewhere around there looks kind of cool. Clarity is also one of those effects that kind of brings in that, you know, like you can soften it way, way too much like that, and then it changes everything. And that's kind of standard. And I'm just going to bring that up like this so that it brings out the slate. And then dehaze is another one that's kind of a cool feature. So this will take away smoke and stuff like that, but it's like, it's a pretty strong feature if you play around with it too much. So I don't want to add a lot of that to it, but if we bring it like this, it kind of darkens it and just brings out all of that stuff. And then I'll put in a negative vignette like that. that's it. It's pretty simple. So this is the shot that we had before, basically the same deal. And that's what it looks like after that quick edit. Pretty neat. This is the same shot that I've edited another day that's a similar edit. So anyway, that's kind of cool. And then what we'll do is let's move on to this one. But before I do that, now you can see the pipe. This is cool. So I put on a different angular shot when we did the new shoot. And I'm basically just going to pop back in here so I can read the chat and hang out with you guys for a little bit. Okay. Yeah, you can contact Isha Hockey. We can, you can just like comment on the community. You can comment on anything. You can contact Isha. We can figure all of that kind of stuff out. Yeah, for the wedding photography, you can also look up Second Nature Photography if you're actually interested in his services. You can go onto Facebook. He has a Facebook page. I think he also has an Instagram as well, and he's like pretty reasonably priced as far as wedding photography goes. Of course, though, we wouldn't be able to travel without having some kind of accommodations and that kind of thing. It's just how the photography game goes for us to come out. So anyway, Burning Couch podcast. This looks awesome. Cool stream, dude. Thank you. I'm super stoked that some of you guys are actually enjoying this, and I'm hoping that more photographers will come in and, you know, even give me constructive criticism. If you think I could be doing something different, I'm happy to hear all about it. Like I've never done a live stream before. This is my first one, and so far we're like an hour and 12 minutes into this. This is really going cool. So that's wicked. You guys might be invited. I don't have Facebook. That's totally cool. You know, feel free to invite us. That would be a lot of fun, I think. And yeah, you can DM us closer to when you get married. And congratulations as well, by the way. Getting married is a really cool thing. So congrats to that. So I'm just going to pop back into Lightroom here, and we're going to work on this pipe photo. So I'm going to do something similar here. This is just stock raw image. So when you do your photo edits, you want to be in RAW as opposed to JPEG. It just has way more information for the app to work with. So you can adjust things without losing the quality of your photo. So what we can do here is maybe we'll crop this photo just to kind of make it a little bit smaller, thinner, kind of Instagram sort of style. I like that. We'll go back in there. And then exposure. So this is like a pretty, it's underexposed by one stop. So if I bring it up just a little bit like that, that'll be cool. I generally shoot my photos underexposed by one stop. I just like that the best. And I like to bring in some contrast here too. It just kind of gives me that mood. So you can go the other way and it brightens it up a little bit, but I like to go this way just a little bit. Take down the highlights, and as you can see, kind of the whites and all of the stuff that's hanging out on the pipe is going to dim just a little bit. So we'll do that. We can bring up the shadows, lower the whites, and then again, I'm going to skip all this because I don't want to warm it or cool it. I think it's perfect the way it is. And sorry for my my sniffles here, but we're going to add some texture to it because I really like how it looks when you kind of get all of that, and then we'll add some clarity to this photo as well. Throw in some dehaze right here and a negative vignette, and that's that. That is an edited photo. It's pretty cool. This is the one that I edited the other day, and I really like that. It's just a super sharp photo. This is kind of what it looks like. Similar to what it is. It's not the same image, but that's the edit that I did the other day, and I'm really happy with how that one turned out. This one, I could probably bring up the exposure a little bit more even, just to make that kind of lighter, just like that. And see how that looks now? It's like, it's pretty nice, and we can probably match a little bit more to what that other one is if we bring up the clarity just a little bit more, bring up the texture just a little bit more, and that's a little bit more similar to what I was doing before. So something like that. Anyway, that's kind of what I do with all of this stuff. I actually don't know why I did that. I just like editing these photos, and it's kind of neat. So, okay, peace out. Hockey from home. Have a good one. You're not even dating yet, Kyle, though. Oh, wow. You know, never mind. Congratulations on your future marriage. Cool. Okay, well, I think that's all for today, you guys. I've kind of, I think I'm going to do a little bit more of a practice run for the next one, and hopefully we can do some more of this product photography in the near future. Thank you so much for joining. If you liked what you saw, feel free to sub, comment, whatever you want on the video, and feel free to join us on some of that fight content. You know that we like that stuff. So anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to head out and just get ready because I'm flying to Calgary tonight. I need to pack my bags and clean up my house and prep my dog and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's been super fun hanging out with you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later.